Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the graduates.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Over the ramparts we walked, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets wrangling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. and the home of the
Ladies, gentlemen, and graduates, please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Richard Reyes. I am a branch chief with the CBP Field Operations Academy. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the on-stage ceremonial party. Clint Lamb, Deputy Assistant Commissioner, Office of International Affairs. Raul Miglietti, Branch Chief, Field Operations Academy. Brad Kirkland, Program Specialist, Training Management Division, Federal Law Enforcement Training Centers. Felix Sosa, Session Supervisor. Zoltan Takex, Session Supervisor. I will now turn the podium over to Branch Chief Miglietti, who will introduce today's keynote speaker.
Good afternoon. It is with great pleasure that I introduce our keynote speaker. Clint Lamb is the Deputy Assistant Commissioner for the Office of International Affairs. In this role, Mr. Lamb leads coordination and support of foreign initiatives, programs, and activities for CBP that extend U.S. borders worldwide. He promotes counterterrorism, border security, combating transnational organized crime, trade and cargo security, irregular migration management, and global capacity building. Mr. Lamb has served in numerous leadership positions, including Director of Field Operations for the Pre-Clearance Field Office, Area Port Director in Boston, Acting Executive Director of CBP Labor and Employee Relations, and Director of Alternative Funding Programs. Deputy Assistant Commissioner Lamb began his career in 1998 as an immigration inspector. He is a graduate of CBP Leadership Institute and holds a Master of Arts in Diplomacy from Norwich University and a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Assistant Commissioner Lamb.
Thank you for the welcome and the opportunity here. Welcome to everyone who's visiting. It's a great opportunity for me as well. They told me I had 7 minutes. I planned for 30, so I guess I'll have to cut out a few pages. I say that jokingly because I've been working with this class, this session, 613, since early February. February 7th was their first day, so 89 days over a little over 4 months, stretches out a little bit. And so I've seen them at the very beginning, I've seen them in the middle, and I've seen them all the way here towards the end. So this is exceptional for me. And I'll tell you, this is my second graduation in as many weeks. My first one, my oldest son, graduated from high school last week. So I attended that graduation back in town where I live, outside of D.C. And that was very personal to me. It's my first son. I got him over through that threshold of graduating high school. This graduation is as well very personal to me, and it affects me as a professional as well. So it's a twofer, for, if you will, for this group. So I'm again, and I know all of this class and all the members of it and what they've been through, where they started and where they ended up, and to see the candidates here before me. So I'm very proud of them. I've even run a couple races with them, and I've done a few things with them here over their time. So hopefully those images don't show up on the internet or anything. First and foremost, though, I'd also like to welcome, as I said, the visitors here. I know we have a large group of folks that are visiting these candidates to become CBP officers, and we welcome you. We thank you for attending. There's maybe some watching virtually as well. This is very important. It's an important day in the lives of these young people standing in front of me. It's also very important for myself and for those of us on the stage here because this is what we have invested a lot of time and hours and tax dollars and personal energy into each and every one of these candidates you see sitting in the rows in front of you. So it's very personal, again, for all of us. And I'd also like to specifically welcome, we have a delegation meeting here from our national meeting of our recruiters, sitting up there in the top right corner. Those are the folks that go out and find our future CBP officers. And they end up including running a lot of our training programs for folks who want to become CBP officers someday. The Explorer program, of which we have a success story within our ranks as well. Somebody who worked a lot of time in the Explorer program and then waited to get the job, and here she is graduating today. So great programs and very important to all of us. This is a culmination, as I said, of over 4 months of a lot of work, it's a pursuit. It's got to be a bit of a passion. There's a lot of work for the folks in the audience who aren't aware of exactly what they do here. They have to do there's a lot of academic type work that has to be done, a lot of memorizing, a lot of exams and tests. There's physical fitness requirements that they must pass, absolutely. There are firearms and use of force and physical techniques training classes that they have to pass that are not that easy. So when it gets down to it, and they have to do them repeatedly over and over again. There's a lot of training on the practical exercises of being an officer. So they have to do interviews and exams and go out to mock ports of entry and work with role models who are playing bad guys or tourists or passengers or what have you, and they have to pass those exams. A lot involved that happens over many months that isn't that as much of a challenge for them in that sense as it is being away from home and being away from all of you during that time. And again, I've spoken to a lot of them. I've done a number of classes, and this is always one of the big challenges, is being away from those family and friends. So we appreciate the patience that you all have had and the dedication that you've had to serving and supporting each one of these candidates. But it's also a great, just keeping in mind all the sacrifice on their end as well, particularly as a uniformed law enforcement officer going forward into this profession. And they all know, they've heard me say this a number of times, that this is a lifestyle. You're part of a club. You'd be part of an elite club here as a federal law enforcement officer, and it comes with a lot of benefits. It also comes with a life of dedication, commitment to public service, first and foremost. These folks, what they also learned is so important to each one of us to uphold our standard of living. So no matter where you come from and where you've been and what you've experienced in your life, the way of life that we have in the United States of America is far better than it is in most places in the world. And I know we have a lot of people from different parts of the world in this class, and therefore I know we've got people from all over the world in the audience as well. And to be here, to know how great we have it here, it's a wonderful thing, but it's work. You know, freedom isn't free, as they say. It depends on a lot of people, and certainly when it comes to the front line of our borders of our nation and protecting our way of life, it comes down to a handful of people who are working the ports of entry, who are making sure that everything that's coming in this country is safe. That's the responsibility of these people right here. That's the enormity of the job. When it comes to narcotics and fentanyl, it's killing more people than ever in this country. When it comes to protecting our agriculture and making sure that goods that are in our technology isn't being stolen or ripped off or being copied. When it comes to collecting duties and taxes on things that are coming from other countries that are being shipped in here but actually underpin our economy. That's the important way to remember that, as the second largest generator of revenue for the United States government is CBP officers collecting on behalf of CBP for the U.S. Treasury. That's why that's important. That paves the roads outside. The protection of life and safety. Protecting of the way, not only our way of life, but also the people that come across our borders, identifying and apprehending and arresting criminals, and all the humanitarian work that you don't hear about on the news. But if there's anybody's life that's being saved at the border, if there's anybody that's being pulled out of some kind of a crisis situation or is allowed to come here and apply for asylum and gets that first step into the process to starting a new life, the people who do that are sitting right here. So you imagine the balance and the challenge of that mission set. And that's what we do every day. More babies are delivered by the law enforcement officers in CBP than there are any other law enforcement agency in this country, probably in the world. And they're not our babies, they're other people's babies that we're delivering. So our mission is very simple. I can describe it in the most, it's very, very complicated, but it's very simple. It's three things. It's first, it's to protect the American people, to safeguard our borders, and to enable the prosperity of the United States. I mean, that's it. Protect the people, border, and support trade and travel. And within that, I can tell you, it's incredibly complex. We do this all over the world. As you heard, I'm the Deputy Assistant Commissioner of the Office of International Affairs, so within the Office of Field Operations, where all these folks will be working. We deploy roughly 800 officers around the world to do this very same job in other countries. They're all well aware of that. We've talked quite a bit. There's a lot of opportunities in this job for each one of you to work around the world. And you guys can have that conversation when you're home. A lot of people out here someday will probably be living in other countries while you're doing your very same job. As these opportunities, especially with the Office of Field Operation, are everywhere. We have attachés, we have representatives as advisors, we provide capacity building. You heard the word capacity building. We are the model customs or border agency for the world. And this is what I do, is field requests all day long for training and support for other countries to learn how to do what we do. That includes the training academy that you actually just went through. So the FLETC folks get requests all the time for visiting just to see how we do these things. So there's a lot of opportunities there as well. I would say that when it comes to doing your job and what's really important, so just kind of rehashing some of the things we talked about over the last 4 months, is that number one is integrity is really key for each one of you as a law enforcement officer. One of the principles I mentioned was that the marginal cost doctrine, the marginal cost of doing something small just once always leads to doing something else, right? And so therefore you don't do that one thing once, even no matter how small it is. You maintain your integrity. That's key for you in your job, especially as a law enforcement officer. Be a lot of temptations and you're faced with a lot of bad behavior. Uphold your job. Be vigilant in the work that you do. Life, safety depends on it. Our way of life depends on it. And being the consummate professional. And how do you do that in this line of work? Well, we're federal law enforcement officers. We serve the public. We serve all of the people that are sitting behind you. You're not doing this work for your supervisor, for your port director. You're not doing it for me or anybody sitting on this stage. The work that you are doing every single day is for those people sitting behind you. And that's why it's important. And that's why you can't let your mind drift for a moment, and you have to be vigilant constantly. And so, by the way, those are our 3 core values as well, right? Vigilance, service to country, and integrity. Pretty simple for it. CBP always likes to make things simple. Mission simple, value simple, everything relates that way. That's how we function. And so there's just a couple other things I'd like for you all to remember in closing. And this is for my friends and my colleagues here in session 613, who's graduating on 613, by the way. Remember your time here at FLETC and at the Field Operations Academy. What it represents for you is, as we've talked about, continuous learning, continuous professional development. You should never stop. You should always continue to develop, always take those opportunities for the TDYs, the training. That'll impact your professional life as well as your personal life. Remember your peers, the people sitting amongst you now. Remember them for the rest of your career. You'll be bouncing into them and meeting them once in a while everywhere you go. It's a small world. Remember how you've relied on them and suffered with them over the last 4+ months. Even the ones that when you didn't see eye to eye on things, there's a lot of folks who had challenges here, and they relied on everybody. And so I'm thankful that for each of you, as I wasn't here, you guys were here with each other every single day, and you got everybody through. Remember the experience and how important it is for you as you're starting your career. Remember how we talked about as well, how slowly every day, when you first got here in February, it was like every day was just dragging on. You got to the middle, and I was like, all right, I'm going to hear about the middle. And then the last week, it's like, man, this is a breeze. It just flew by. That's what you told me. It probably was a little longer than that. By next week, it'll be like, it was a blur. But, you need to remember that this is, when you get back to your ports, how important that this period is in your career. This is the foundation. And when somebody tries to convince you that something isn't that important back at your port, that you remember like how critical and serious everything is that you learned is. And follow those positive role models, right? Follow the positive role models. Remember that work is not a sentence. It's not a prison sentence. This job is an opportunity. It is not a paycheck. It's a pursuit and a passion. It is public service, right? You can't let your foot off the gas for a minute. And it's also one of the, again, you're part of a unique club. You're working for the United States government and the largest law enforcement agency in the United States and the premier border agency on the planet Earth. Take pride in that every single day when you put on that uniform and go to work. Remember, this is a family. This is CBP is a family. In fact, you're going to be spending more waking hours with this family than with your dearest loved ones back home. So in that, make sure it's positive. Work is work, but it doesn't have to be negative. You know, you come to work and do the best you can, enjoy it, make the environment that you're going to work in, the port you're working, make it fun, make it exciting, make it interesting, overcome challenges, don't get stomped down by them. And remember, lastly, and most importantly, the numbers that I told you on the back side of this building before we started doing push-ups yesterday morning. 21 and 68. Remember those numbers? That's why we're here. Understood? Yes, sir. All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations. I can't wait to pin those badges on you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The Field Operations Academy would now like to recognize the section leaders of Session 613. Throughout the course, the section leaders' communication, dedication, and organizational skills demonstrated leadership potential, which U.S. Customs and Border Protection values. Would section leaders Eduardo F. Ortega and Chase W. Bates please join us on stage?
Retro, attention! Center, face. Forward, march.
On behalf of Session 613, the section leaders will now say a few words.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank everyone in attendance and everybody watching back home, especially you, Mom, Dad, my 3 kids. I know y'all couldn't be here, but y'all are right here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today as we celebrate the graduation of Class 613. It is truly an honor to stand before this exceptional group of individuals who have dedicated themselves to protecting our borders and ensuring our safety. 18 weeks ago, 39 individuals from all over the country assembled here in Brunswick, Georgia, and set course for the unknown and the uncomfortable. Most, if not all, were strangers, but as strangers, we shared a common purpose: to better ourselves, each other, and our profession. We knew that working hard, sacrificing, and embracing new challenges would be required. Today, we no longer stand as strangers. We are Session 613, a blended and diverse family of law enforcement professionals. By no means was this academy easy. Challenges present themselves every day and will continue to present themselves throughout your career. My fellow classmates, embrace the challenges that will come your way. In the face of struggles, do not yield. With perseverance, you will find your way. Embrace the challenges as opportunities for growth, and let determination be your guiding light. From strangers to friends, I will miss you all, but especially my roommate, Sally. Thank you. Thank you for being my friend. All of y'all, thank you. Without y'all, this experience would not be the same. We're traveling across the nation, south, north, east, west. Though we are apart, I will cherish the memories, hold them tight, and anticipate the day we reunite. I would like to congratulate all of you for making it to the graduation and personally thank all of your family members here today who also sacrificed not having you guys around for that long. I know it was hard for my family. I could just imagine how it was for y'all. But we did it. It was hard, but we came through. Session. As we say our goodbyes, I would wish you luck, but we all know what luck is for. All right? Where's your heart at? Remember where your heart's at, and you'll get through anything. So I'll leave you with some words of encouragement for those tough days ahead of you. When nothing seems to be going right, remember, at the end of the day, it's night. On that note, take 10. Bates.
Good afternoon. My name is Chase Bates. It is an honor to be up here today, not only as a new Customs and Border Protection officer joining the Law Enforcement Brotherhood, but to have the privilege to represent CBP Session 613 and speaking with everyone present and watching at home. I am most honored to have the opportunity to share a mere sliver of the experience I have shared with the members of 613 to our family and friends. I could ramble on all afternoon and still not cover everything I wish I could express about the group of new officers present here before you today. I'm only one person in this team of 39 extraordinary people who all have a plethora of stories they can tell. Don't worry, I'll try and keep it brief. What I can do is go over some things that I feel we will always remember. With the short time I have up here, I can best sum it up with some quotes. These quotes are from trainees and instructors alike. Many quotes I will not get to because there are just too many. But all of these quotes come with a valuable life lesson. For example, the 4 cardinal safety rules of firearms were hammered into our brains every day we had firearms, along with some personalized acronyms from Instructor Soros. DDSS, don't do stupid stuff. We can all agree that is a pretty invaluable lesson, Paul. Working with my fellow trainees in 613, it would be hard to forget many of the other quotes because it was like working and marching with parrots. Because everyone had impersonations that was constantly repeated. We tracking? If one were to be somewhere at FLETC and hear us approaching before they saw us, they might think Supervisor Takis, Sosa, Manor, Gear, Soros, and even Chief Medina, etc., were in formation approaching. Make no mistake, our impersonations were not one of disrespect, quite the opposite. Although hilarious to impersonate, we admire our instructors. One person we definitely will not forget is Chief Medina and some of his quotes. In fact, I was on the phone with my mom a few weeks ago, and I was stressed about something. My mom said to me, "Don't worry," and I immediately heard Chief Medina in my head say, "We'll fix it." In 613, it does not matter what we are talking about. If someone says, "Don't worry," then you know someone will immediately say, "We'll fix it." That was the first memorable statement we all heard within the first few minutes of day 1 out of 89. Don't worry, we'll fix it. This is Commander of Troops Medina's catchphrase. What that means is if you make mistakes, don't make excuses. Apologies don't mean anything unless you fix it. We have to hold ourselves accountable. When you're there, you're there. Supervisor Takis gave this quote, which often works great for the harmonized tariff schedule of the United States, but it also works well for not overthinking things. There are so many other memories I wish I could talk about that we all experienced. Here's one of my favorites. Just a couple weeks ago, our team was marching between training venues. We were calling one of our regular cadences we used to keep in step. We happened to see a group of kids in front of us. I don't think any of us had ever seen children on base at FLETC before. Trainee Wynn immediately began to sing the SpongeBob SquarePants song, and we immediately sung the chorus in cadence perfectly. I don't know if any of the instructors in the area were impressed, but those kids sure seemed to like it. I will never forget that, and I will never forget any of you. We are now entering our careers as federal law enforcement officers, and there's a great unknown where this career will take us. Although we don't quite know where this path will take us as individuals, we must never forget to keep to our oath that we took as peace officers. For everything else, we'll figure it out. It has been an honor, 613. Godspeed. And on that note, take 10.
Session! Attention! CBP 613! With vigilance, service, and integrity, we protect the land of the free. We are CBP 613! Who are we? CBP 613! Who are we? CBP 613!
Thank you, Section Leaders Ortega and Bates. Now for the presentation of the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center's Director's Leadership Award, please welcome FLETC's Representative Program Specialist Brad Kirkland.
Thank you. On behalf of the Director of the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, Mr. Thomas J. Walters, it's my pleasure to welcome our distinguished guests, family and friends that are here, and those of you watching via live stream. We're so glad you're able to tune in and celebrate with us. On behalf of the faculty here at FLETC, I want to say congratulations to 613. We know this program is long and rigorous, and you've worked very hard to get here today, so we're proud of you. You should be proud. Now I have the distinct pleasure to present the FLETC Director's Leadership Award. It's given to the student who most exemplifies the highest standards and embodies the leadership characteristics of a federal law enforcement officer. What makes this award special and unique is how it's selected. It's not selected by FLETC staff nor CBP staff. It is selected by the members in the class. And the members of Session 613 have selected Officer Jenna DeClean. Please join me on the stage. Officer DeClean, allow me to share with the audience a portion of the letter that Director Walters has written for you. The award is given to the student who exhibits the following behavior while in basic training: positively influences others, serves as a role model, is responsible to themselves and others, is a problem solver, exemplifies excellence, does more than expected, cares about fellow classmates, puts others first and is team-oriented, inspires goodwill and enthusiasm, and is loyal, helpful, respectful, thoughtful, and ethical. It is apparent you have distinguished yourself early in your law enforcement career by clearly and consistently demonstrating the above-stated leadership traits. A copy of this letter will be forwarded to the CBP Academy for inclusion in your personnel file. Congratulations. Good job. (613) again, congratulations. We wish you the best. Have a safe and successful career. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirkland. At this time, we will present the Field Operations Academy Achievement Awards. The awards will be presented by Deputy Assistant Commissioner Lamb and Branch Chief Miglieri. The Field Operations Academy's Firearm Award is presented to the graduate with the highest score on the CBP course of fire to include judgment pistol shooting. Would Ruen B. Malapit and Roberto Iglesias Armario please join us on stage? Physical training is a key component of being a successful Customs and Border Protection officer. The Field Operations Academy's Physical Training Award is presented to the graduate with the highest average score of the fitness graduation standard, arrest techniques, and defensive tactics. With an achieved composite score of 94.01%, would Omar Reyes please join us on stage? The Office of Training and Development's Outstanding Performance Award is presented to acknowledge the graduate in the session with the highest combined academics, firearms, and physical training scores. The scores are weighted with an emphasis on academic achievement at 60% and an equal weight between firearms and physical training at 20% each. The minimum score to qualify for this award is 90% with no failures or remedials in the different areas. With an achieved composite score of 94.34%, would Roberto Iglesias Armario please join us on stage? The Field Operations Academy's Director's Award is presented to the individual who, during training, embodied and demonstrated the Field Operations Academy's guiding principles of pride, the honor, courage, commitment, and self-respect that defines us as Customs and Border Protection officers. Esprit de corps, the mission, common spirit, and dedication to each other that keeps us vigilant. Professionalism, the qualities which validate to the public that the men and women of Customs and Border Protection have been trained to the highest standards. And integrity, the duty-bound truth, core values, standards of conduct, and the moral courage to always do what is right. Would Eduardo F. Ortega please join us on stage? Thank you, Deputy Assistant Commissioner Lamb and Branch Chief Miglietti. For the presentation of the officers' badges and credentials, I will now turn the podium over to Session Supervisor Sosa. Please hold your applause until the end. Thank you.
Rise on row. First and second row. Up, judge. Forward, face. Forward, march.
Eric Acupina, Buffalo, Niagara, New York. Chase Bates, San Ysidro, California. Craig Brown, San Francisco, California. Joseph Crane II, El Paso, Texas. Jamar Crichton, JFK, New York. John Carlo Cruz Rodriguez, Laredo, Texas.
Watch your group. Third and fourth row. Up, shut. Right, great. Forward, march.
Jenna DeClean, Buffalo, Niagara, New York. Mamadou Diallo, Logan International Airport, Mass. Joining Officer Diallo on stage is his brother, Amado Diallo. Mr. Diallo is a New York police officer in Manhattan, New York, with 4 years of service. Gargana Dimitrova, San Isidro, California. Jason Fassel, Buffalo, Niagara, New York. Natalie Fernandez, San Isidro, California. Manuel Galindo, Laredo, Texas. Joining Officer Galindo on stage is his brother, Mariano Galindo. Mr. Galindo is a Customs and Border Protection officer in Laredo, Texas, with 5 years of service. Cindy Gloria, El Paso, Texas. Joining Officer Gloria on stage is her cousin, Yvette Zavala. Ms. Zavala is a Border Patrol agent in El Paso, Texas, with 5 years of service. Brenda Hernandez, Laredo, Texas.
Last time row. First and second row. Archer, judge. Loud, face. Forward, march.
Roberto Iglesias Armario, Newark, New Jersey. Rebecca Jimenez, San Isidro, California. Nisha M.D. Khan. Joining Officer Khan on stage is her father, Gyumi Khan. Mr. Khan is a detective with the New York Police Department in New York City with 25 years of service. Venetia Lawrence, JFK, New York. Sabrina Lopez, Logan International Airport, Mass. Joining Officer Lopez on stage is her father, Elizer Lopez. Mr. Lopez is a Miami police detective in Miami Springs, Florida, with 27 years of service. Also joining Officer Lopez on stage is her brother, Alexander Lopez. Mr. Lopez is a Customs and Border Protection officer in Blaine, Washington, with 1 year of service. Ruen Malapit, Pembina, North Dakota. Jonathan Melendez Carpintero, El Paso, Texas. Joining Officer Melendez is his uncle, Lee Melendez. Mr. Melendez is a Customs and Border Protection Assistant Port Director in San Juan, Puerto Rico, with 18 years of service. Javin M. Morales, Laredo, Texas. Joining Officer Morales on stage is his cousin, Arnoldo Larisquito. Mr. Larisquito is a Customs and Border Protection Supervisor in Brownsville, Texas, with 19 years of service. Islam Mustafa, Newark, New Jersey. Kevin Wynn, Pembina, North Dakota. Eduardo Ortega, El Paso, Texas. Joel Perez, Sweetgrass, Montana.
Lights out room. Third and fourth row. Out, join. Out, face. Forward, march.
Edgar Anthony Porras, Los Angeles International Airport, California. Samuel Posas, Pembina, North Dakota. Cynthia Quesada, Laredo, Texas. Omar Reyes, Newark, New Jersey. Daniel Rivas, San Isidro, California. Jonathan Segura, Otay Mesa, California. John A. Silva, Laredo, Texas. Christian Trado, Buffalo Niagara, New York. Diego Valencia, San Isidro, California. Cesar Valles, Otay Mesa, California. Nyla West, JFK, New York. Joining Officer West on stage is her father, Roger West. Mr. West has 20 years of service with the New York Department of Corrections. Joanna Savarra, Buffalo Niagara, New York. Joining Officer Savarra on stage is her spouse, Yancy Hernandez. Hernandez is a Doral Police Department police officer in Doral, Florida with 29 years of service. Christian Samora Job. Joining Officer Samora Job on stage is his father, Golan Job. Mr. Job is a senior corrections officer with the State of Nevada Department of Corrections with 7 years of service.
Please give a round of applause to our graduates. Graduates, please stand. Face the podium. Prepare for the oath of office to be administered by Branch Chief Miglieri. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain silent during the oath of office.
All right, 613. Up until now, everything has been pretend. Up until now, you've had role players with pretend situations and simulations. Up until now, you've carried that red gun. Today, it becomes real. You're going to leave today here with your service-issued weapon with live rounds on it. The people that you see out there, the bad guys, are going to be the real bad guys. So at this moment, it becomes real. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
Eric Acapina, Chase Bates, Craig Brown, Joseph Crane, Jamar Crichton, Carlos Cruz Rodriguez,
Janet Lee,
Mohamed Diallo,
Gargara Dimitrova,
Jason Fassel,
Natalie Fernandez,
Manuel Galindo,
Cindy Gloria,
Brenda Hernandez,
Roberto Iglesias,
Rebecca Jimenez, Nisha Khan, Benicia Lawrence, Sabrina Lopez,
Juan Malpin,
Jonathan Melendez Carpintero,
Jaden Morales,
Islam Mustafa,
Kevin Wynn,
Eduardo Francisco Ortega,
Joel Perez,
Andrew Morris, Samuel Posas,
Cynthia Quesada,
Omar Reyes, Daniel Rivas, Jonathan Segura, John Silva, Christian Trio, Diego Valencia, Cesar Valles,
Nyla West,
Johanna Zavara,
Christian Zamora Joel.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. That I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office. Well and faithfully discharge on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations, CBP officers.
Officers, please be seated. Once again, I want to congratulate our newest U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers. Officers, you leave here today with a strong foundation for your new career as a CBP officer. Continue to grow and challenge yourselves as you have chosen a most dynamic career field in which there will always be new things to learn as we successfully accomplish our mission. And finally, be safe. Ladies, gentlemen, and officers, please stand. Please remain standing for the departure of our onstage ceremonial and our newest members of U.S. Customs and Border Protection Officer Corps. Officers, please stand.
All uniformed personnel, arms, charge!
CBP 613, with vigilant service and integrity, we protect the land of the free. We are CBP 613.
Who are we?
CBP 613.
Who are we?
CBP 613.
Center, fight! On stage part, prepare to depart. On stage part, depart. All uniformed personnel, at